Hey there, I'm Justin Fulkerson, lead botanist from the Alaska Center for Conservation Science. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the Alaska Bee Atlas, a collaborative project we're doing to document bees across Alaska. So I know what you're thinking. There are bees and flowers in Alaska. Yeah, there are. In fact, many of our berry-producing plants are really dependent on pollinators for fruit set. And these fruits are really important food and cultural resources for many people in Alaska. So what do we know about the pollinators, specifically the bees? Well, we know quite a few things. However, we have a lot of data gaps. And that's mostly because Alaska is a really large state. Just to give you a sense of perspective of how large Alaska is, imagine if you were to get Texas, California, Montana, combine them together, you get the same area in size as Alaska. Coupled with the fact that not a lot of people live up here, we have a very limited road system, making a lot of Alaska remote and inaccessible. Unfortunately, that causes our bee data to be really biased towards this road system. We've also been discovering new species to science, even new bumblebee species recently, and a lot of the bee data that we do have is missing habitat information. Collectively, this has all made it difficult to do conservation assessments and also for land managers to conserve habitat for pollinators. So one way to fill these data gaps is the Alaska Bee Atlas. We modeled our bee atlas to be very similar to other bee atlases across the United States. However, ours is a little bit different, where we're really focused on leveraging the support of state and federal scientists who are already visiting these remote locations and giving them traps and nets to collect bees and data for us. We've also opened it up to community scientists recently, and this has increased the geographic range where we're getting data from and also a few local monitoring efforts. So what does the sampling plan for Alaska look like? Well, we were originally focused on looking at the ecoregions of Alaska. As you can see from this map, many of those ecoregions are as wide as Alaska and sometimes larger than the state of California. And we felt that getting like one or two dots within these maps or on one side of the ecoregion was not really representative of the geographic area or the ecoregion itself. So an alternative approach that we looked at was sampling from land status or particular land managers. In this example, we have the Bureau of Land Management in yellow and the Fish and Wildlife Service in green. And this is not all of the land that they manage in Alaska, but just undersampled areas. However, we were still encountering a problem with spatial bias and also probably ignoring some critical habitat that we were interested in and lacked bee data from. We settled on an approach of a hexagon system. Our hexagons are fairly large. They're about 5,000 square kilometers and about 88 kilometers wide. We were originally exploring the idea of the Pacific Northwest Bumblebee Atlas grid system. However, when that's overlaid across Alaska, it is creating thousands and thousands of hexagons and just made the task of filling the grid nearly impossible. So we had to scale up in size. We coalesced the bee data into these hexagons to create this heat map. Those hexagons that are red have no to relatively little data about bees compared to the lighter or clear hexagons where we have a lot more data about bees. So we're asking people to go out to these red hexagon areas. These are our highest priority areas. Now, not everyone could get off of the road system and they're sampling within the lowest priority areas, but if they're doing that, we're asking them to target specific habitats where we have little associated data. As an example, we have really limited data for alpine and Arctic tundra, so we're asking people to target these areas. One of the other things about coalescing the data into these hexagons is that it does not account for sampling time or when the data were collected. We're still in baseline data gathering phase in Alaska, so that is ignored. One of the last things I'll talk about the hexagons are that some of these hexagons will never get filled. We have glaciers that are the size of Rhode Island, which would make up almost entirely one of these grid cells. So there's probably not going to be very good bee habitat data under them. Here are the data from 2021 from our bee atlas. So we've been getting people going out off the road system into the red areas to collect bees for us. And we're getting a fair number of bees from these areas, which is like really great. So if you'd like to learn more about the Alaska Bee Atlas, visit our website or send me an email and I'm happy to chat.